Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we've decided to make this episode a bit of a drinking game.
I'm back.
So anytime we say anything negative at all about this movie, about each other, about the fact that when you close your eyes, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is basically just Disney's Robin Hood. You're going to hear this sound. That sound means we're taking a drink, and we hope you drink
Can't
along
wait to
with us.
dive into that later. But in the meantime, pour yourself a glass as we go west to Shinbone, where everything is bigger. The emotions, the sweats, the hats. Seriously, that fucking hat on the doctor was like a foot tall.
It's way taller
Lincoln
than
hat.
Lincoln's.
It was a Lincoln
Cheers,
top hat.
film.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Mm.
All right, the random year generator spun 1962, which is a fantastic film year, one in which we've already talked about several movies on the list, but we decided to go with The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance for this here episode. We're so excited. John Ford, Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne, Vera Miles, and then the only Academy Award nomination. Did you guys see who that was for? The only Academy Award nomination was for Edith Head's costumes.
Oh,
Edith
no. Wow.
Head.
I mean, she's amazing, but yeah.
8 Oscars. Just really quick, I know this is very little to do with the opening of our podcast, but Edith Head, the inspiration for The Incredibles lady, how many IMDb credits does she have in the costume department?
160.
433.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh. All right, film fans, we're talking about The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. So excited. And then we're going to do a little setup. What happened in the year 1962? Other films that came out, some world events, some context before we get into our discussion. We've got a couple mini reviews first. John saw The Bikeriders. It's just Bikeriders, or is it The Bikeriders?
Oh, shit. I think it's The Bikeriders.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
And then also A Quiet Place.
Yes.
A Quiet Place Day 1 as well. A couple little mini reviews, short and sweet, no spoilers on them, a gripe or two, and then we'll be into our featured conversation. But if you need your Liberty Valance content, look in the show notes and jump ahead to those timestamps. John, you want to shout our sponsors out?
I do. We have a couple sponsors. Maybe you've heard of them. Carlos Barroso is our beer sponsor. You can find him on Instagram or in our show notes. That's cbarroso.beer. We also have a music artist in residence that goes by the name Dasein, Dasein. You can find all their music available to stream and download on all the usual music platforms. Go listen, enjoy. You're welcome. Boom.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was right to the point. You know, you got some mini reviews, so you're like, I got to keep it tight.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Dave, how you doing? Anything going on? You feeling better after your COVID last week?
I'm feeling much better. It was so
Good.
funny. There was a text exchange earlier where I was like, I might be awake this time. And John's like, yeah, you look pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, I watched the video, dude. I looked at the video.
Actually,
I'm
what I
like,
said
holy
was,
fuck.
you looked pretty good for a man in the throes of disease.
Yes.
I think was what I
That's fair,
actually said.
yeah.
But you
yeah,
still...
I watched...
No, sorry.
I watched the video, like when I was putting the video together for last week, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, fucking hell, I shouldn't have done that show.
But you still
Honestly, man, you're a
had...
trooper.
You are. And you still had the wherewithal to leave a voicemail on the Matt and Mark movie show where I was on to talk about Quiet Place Day 1. So, John,
Well, I
ready
wanted
for
to
that
return the
interview?
favor because you've done this to me a couple of times when
I have, but I usually ask something where you're like, what the fuck is Jeff talking about? And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
listen back and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should have kept it simple. Oh my God. All right. Well, why don't we do it? Let's get into the mini reviews and then we'll do a little gripe section before we get into 1962. So, John, which one do you want to start with? Quiet Place or Bikeriders?
Let's do Quiet Place because I think I forgot or didn't realize that you were doing that one on the Matt and Mark show.
Okay. What'd you think? Quiet Place Day 1, the third movie. This is made by the director of Pig,
Yeah.
not John Krasinski. And it's sort of a origin story / bottlenecky kind of thing, starring Lupita Nyong'o. Take it away in New York City.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good.
Cool.
And I say that, hold on, wait. I say that as let's give credit where credit is due. When you look at the history of horror movie franchises, and remember, folks, most franchises, this was the genre that was the only genre where you might go 3 or more. It was very rare to have a successful like trilogy franchise pre-Marvel Universe.
Yeah, Godfather
Would
should
you
have
say
stopped.
that's true?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Hmm.
So you kind of got to go into this that we might be Oh no, yeah. We might be a little snobby about universes and stories and worlds and franchises being built over time, but it's hard to do a trilogy. This is not a fucking comic book. So this is still building off of this kind of IP that they just very successfully tapped into thanks to, I guess, John Krasinski for writing the first one initially. So going into that,
he
just
actually
thinking,
took the story idea from other people, to be clear, but that's okay.
Okay. So for wherever it came from, it was still original. I don't think it was based on a pre-existing comic book from like decades ago, or even a graphic
Correct.
novel from decades ago, or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So just put that mindset on for a second. Those goggles, that hat, whatever the fuck metaphor you want to use, and just say, I'm going to see the third installment of a horror movie. Where are you expecting this thing to be? I still think you're going to have a good time watching this one. I don't know what Matt and Mark and you guys said. There might be some qualms that we can have. Lupita Nyong'o is a fucking perfect actor.
She's awesome.
She's just unbelievable. It's so, especially like, it's not that we've seen her a couple times now very sincerely act her ass off in horror movies. So if anyone saw Us, which I was not a huge fan of that movie, but the performances were amazing and she was amazing. She did it again. This is so much fun watching somebody just exist without a whole lot of reliance on dialogue. So maybe I'm more into performance than the average person, and that worked for me. Were there times that the story broke its own rules, which anyone who listens to our show knows that drives me nuts? Yes.
Drives me nuts too. Can't stand it.
Yeah. The universe broke its rules a few times. So the rules that were being established in this installment. So even though we have seen 1 and 2 and we know the rules really well, the people in this movie are learning the rules as the aliens invade, right? Over the course of this day, basically. And they still broke some rules. But you know, at the end of the day, I was just going to see the third installment of a horror movie, and I thought it was pretty good.
When you put it like that, it sounds like a seriously whittled down cast. It's like we start with 20, and they learn the rules, and we're left with 5.
I mean, honestly, and Stranger Things dude was good, and Hereditary dude was good. Those guys were in
Alex Wolff was good, and then his name is Josh something. I don't know. He played the character of Eric, but he was in the most recent. Alex Wolff, not Nat Wolff. Alex Wolff. Yeah, the brothers, but he was in Pig also. But yes, in Hereditary. Okay. Anyway, I agree. I'm going to phrase it differently than you because I feel like people are listening to you praise it and be like, I want to think about it in 2 ways. I saw it in the Lincoln Square IMAX, so huge IMAX, and the sound was abrasively good. So when it goes from really quiet to like just ridiculously loud, it was almost painful how loud it was, but it was great. It was a very visceral, powerful experience. And you just follow Lupita Nyong'o and this awesome cat, and you're good. You got yourself a movie. Like, it's fucking great. It was really, really, really cool. So just sitting there in the theater, I had a great time. It was really moving and really powerful. Stepping back for a second, some things started to really bother me. But again, it's only after I removed myself from the experience of watching this movie. So John mentioned a lot of rules they were breaking. That's kind of a kind way of putting it. They do the thing where you're watching this movie and you're like, you wouldn't do that. And I know that it's an apocalypse and I'm not there. But it's, look, I'll just say, it's not a spoiler, but if you make any noise, you get mauled to death by these giant alien things. We know the rules, right? So would you travel in a pack of 1,000 people? Never.
It's a weird sequence.
One sneeze from anybody and everybody's dead. So why the fuck would you do that? And they decided to do that and have people hoard and meet in South Street Seaport. It's like, that's a really dumb thing to do when we know the rules. Again, when you're watching in the theater, it's fucking cool to see a whole bunch of people go really quietly in the dark looking for these things. Or actually they weren't. They were really chill. They were really just tired. And it was like, yo. Anyway, but it was cool to see that. So that's why it's like I had a great time watching the movie. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, why didn't they answer a single question? Why didn't they tell us what the pods were that they were eating? Is it their food? Is it their lifeline? Is it their hatchlings? Is it what? I was like, I'm ready for it. What is are we getting an origin story? It doesn't even feel like an origin story. It feels like a bottleneck episode to me, but it's a movie. And so it's like, it's cool. It's a good watch, but it's like, I'm ready for something more than just there's Jaimin Hansu, who was in the second one. That's the only thing.
I think the only reason, and I think the only reason I'll push against that, the answering of those questions, was because this really did feel like they were, at least the intention was, nobody knows anything yet. So we're not really going to answer big
But
questions.
they told him right away it's sound. So it's like,
Yeah. But like were those hatchlings, were those babies? Probably. But I kind of liked that we were just almost in real time with our protagonists together.
correct.
I did not like the pizza sequence.
Yeah.
I did not like a few sequences like they were frustrating, like you're talking about, but there were enough good moments, and I think there was enough of the
The
It's
cat.
a little sentimental, but I know you love the cat. I was
The
thinking
cat
about
was
you the whole
fucking
time.
awesome.
I was
It
like,
was
Jeff's
so
loving
good.
this movie because there's a fucking cat, a real
I did.
cat.
I really
in,
did.
like a lot of this
I
movie.
loved watching this movie.
Thank God for not doing too much CGI on that cat. It was good. But the ending was powerful without giving it away. I think
Definitely.
it delivers. And there were some really great standalone moments that are not like emotional moments that are not necessarily part of like a horror sequence. Like when probably not giving too much away, but there's a character that you're familiar with who does something really terrible early on because the stakes are so high, and you start to see people crumbling in the fear of this stuff. And that's the kind of shit that I wanted to see the most. So they gave me a little bit of those pieces. Anyway, I think if you go see it in the movie theater, or if you put on your headphones and really take it seriously, you're going to get the feelings that I think they wanted you to feel. You're going to have some problems with it, but I still think it's pretty fun. I'm not a huge fan of this franchise, and it kind of made me want to go back and watch 1 and 2. So that might be my best review for it.
I agree. I'm gonna cut it off there. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
I'll tell you a few things. Lupita's appearance on Hot Ones is hilarious.
I
She did
love that
as
show.
it's brand new. She did that as part of the publicity tour. And I've just
Dude,
it's just
let's get that guy on our show, and we'll eat hot ones and drink
Oh
instead
my
of
god! Oh my god!
buzz you, and you have to do the bomb. The bomb. You have to take it.
It's just occurred to me too. Like if we were in that situation, I could kill you two so easily. Like Jeff's killed himself. He's already dead. He can't shut up.
Oh,
That's true. I'm actually in rigor mortis.
you're that dude who's like,
gonna
we're all gonna die.
But we'd be
Fuck everybody.
we'd be creeping through like Grand Central and be, hey John, Marvel films are better than Scorsese. He's done. He's toast.
What'd you say? Yeah. Okay, that was Go
Cool.
watch it. Go watch it.
I had a great time in
I
the
had a
theater.
good
It was really
audience too. Yeah, I had a good audience. Thank God. If people are talking in your audience, go up to the front and try to report. Your movie's going to suck if there people are talking.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wait till they leave and push them into traffic.
So I'll talk very, very briefly. Jesus, I'll talk very, very briefly about the Bikeriders, released by Focus Features, written and directed by Jeff Nichols. You may know him from early on Shotgun Stories, but some really great indies like Take Shelter, eventually Mud, which was kind of the beginning of the Reconnaissance. Loving is a beautiful story. Midnight Special, if you like his sci-fi stuff. So he's one of our few authors, like dare we say that word without being too snobby about it,
Ooh.
real grounded American tales. Honestly, he usually writes about stuff that happens here with real characters, very performance driven. Michael Shannon has been a muse of his since the beginning. And you got 3 massive stars, or
Ooh, yeah.
a couple of massive stars, and one, I think, shining shooting star, and Jodie Comer, who a lot of people are still talking about.
She's so
I'm
good.
Team Jodie,
yeah, she's
100%.
Everybody is, man.
Ever
Yeah.
since Free Guy.
She's super talented.
And then we went back and watched Killing Eve because
Oh,
of
she's so good.
Free Guy and Eve. Oh my
I've never
god,
seen that, so I still feel like I missed out on like the beginning of the rise.
It's a treat.
All right, so Austin Butler, Tom Hardy are the men in the front of this, and it's all being narrated and kind of told to you through an interview style structure by Jodie Comer. So kind of a recall through a young man who was in. Did y'all do a mini review on Challengers, by the way? Did y'all see that, the tennis movie?
No, we
No.
talked about it, but no.
Oh, okay.
I know.
It was fantastic. I loved it, by the way. That's my mini review for that. But what's his name from that? Who's not the guy on the Crown?
Mike Feist. Mike Feist is great. Yeah.
Mike Feist. So he's playing the. This is very clearly based on the book, that famous book that the journalist kind of documented, wrote, took pictures on, of the Hells Angels in the '60s. Basically, this is what that is. So it's fun. If you want to feel like you're in that place, and what Jeff Nichols, I think, did that is so interesting is that you think you're going in to see the Hells Angels that you think you know. And maybe fuck me. Maybe it's not Hell's Angels, but I'm pretty fucking sure it is. And I did a little research and I think it's them. This is the culture before they became drug runners, running prostitutes, muscle for big people, murder, the things that we kind of associated them with later in the latter 2 decades, basically, of the 20th century when they were really heavy. This was a gang of people who just liked riding motorcycles. They were literally inspired by Marlon Brando's movie, The Wild Ones, and just wanted to start a kind of a group of motorcycle riders. So it's not what you think it is.
They're like, can we sell drugs? No, can we just ride bikes, please?
It's still a group of kind of outcasty guys who are rough and tumble and gross and fucking alcoholics. It's kind of that group. But it's really just kind of a peek into that world. So it's fun if you go into it with that mindset. Don't go in expecting blood, guts, prostitutes, whores, drugs, gambling, Goodfellas on bikes. It's not that. It's something else. And it's much more simple than that, with really strong acting at the front of it.
For a second,
I will give you my warning.
Goodfellas on Ice.
Oh, Goodfellas on bikes. God, Goodfellas on Ice, coming to Madison Square Garden. This is my only caveat, and I will give you my warning. John's only warning. It will take you about 10 or 15 minutes to get used to those Midwestern accents coming out of actors who have worked very hard with their dialect coaches to give you some authentic accents. I'm not sure if it's even authentic. And it took me a while for me to be like, my God, I wish they would just tone it down. But you get used to it. Just stick with it. It kind of is weird at first. It's just so intense. Everybody's talking with a Chicago accent. I'm just not sure if it's right or not, but whatever. Oh, then that's my only caveat. Good job, everybody. Jeff Nichols. Everybody should check it out. All right, let's do it.
There you go. 2 mini reviews. Bing, bang, boom.
I think Matt of Matt and Mark hated it, but I think he was gentle and tried not to say anything, because I think if he loved it in our shared thread, he would have said, it was great, go see it. But he said, I'm not going to say anything. I'll wait till you see it. So Matt, I'm curious what you think, dude.
I don't know. He's been full of surprises. Also, Mark disappeared to Ireland, so he wasn't on the show with me. They did a Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2, like pre-watch before Quiet Place Day 1. And then after they recorded their episode, Mark said, oh yeah, by the way, I can't be here for the next episode.
Oh my God.
It's Ireland.
Mark, are you searching for what isn't the Luke Skywalker island on?
Yeah.
Is it off Ireland?
Yeah.
One of the
or Northern England.
That was the photo we sent today. Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right.
Dave's got a gripe relevant to movies. I'm ready to hear it.
It's not relevant to movies at all.
Oh, all
well,
right.
As we know,
good setup.
Amazon.
Here we go.
Okay.
Alley-oop?
1 minute gripe timer.
As we know, I had COVID, so I was relegated to the spare room in my house on an air mattress so that I didn't infect anyone. And this air mattress we've had for about 5 years, and at one point I was leaning on my elbow to get up, and I put my elbow right through the fucking air mattress, because apparently I have really pointy elbows. So it deflated in one giant fart. It just deflated and went down.
Uh-huh.
And so I got on Amazon, and I'm like, oh, cool, there's another one of the air mattresses we have. Oh, deliver between 5 and 10 p.m. tonight. Sweet. So I ordered it. That was Monday. It didn't turn up Monday. It didn't turn up Tuesday. Didn't turn up Wednesday, because that's July 4th. No, Thursday. Didn't turn up then either. Didn't turn up Friday, Saturday. And today I logged in, I got a message going, your package might be lost. Now, I get it. This shit happens. But don't offer fucking same-day delivery if you can no longer provide the service, Amazon. For fuck's sake. It's almost like all these internet companies are suddenly giving us the shit end of the stick because they can't maintain all the crap that they've set up. Wow. And I feel like everyone, like, streaming services are pricing themselves out of the market. It won't be long before families can't afford many of them. And I feel like Amazon is starting to shit the bed on quality of service.
Wow.
It's my money, and I want it now. That's what I'm hearing.
This is funny because I recently had a guy call me from Amazon because he was like, hey, I rang the bell and you weren't home, but I don't want to leave it on the front stoop unless it's okay with you.
The opposite experience. Yeah.
Yeah,
at the exact time he said he would deliver it.
I've had some good ones too, but like there's been a few lately where they've just absolutely shit the bed on delivery or like service in general. And also there is no way to report a package not arriving.
That's correct. I had to report it as stolen, and then I had to report it as something damaged. And I was like, it's not damaged. Whatever. That's true.
Recently, I did get a notification that they said it's delayed and we don't know why. And so I called And I said, this has happened not too long ago with something else. So I'm calling, how do I fix this problem? How do you fix this problem for me? And they basically said, you can either cancel order and deliver it again because they got something happened in the actual part of the warehouse. And they said, or we can boost your ticket and you'll be the first one that the warehouse processes as soon as I hit that button. And I was like, whatever you think is faster. And she boosted the ticket and I got it within like an hour.
Oh my God.
It was crazy.
Wow.
So whatever the
Wait.
fuck that means.
I feel like that's a secret they definitely don't want out.
Yes, Amazon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sorry, I just outed you.
Everybody,
I'm
go
the
ahead
man
and
who
call
shot
Amazon and boost your ticket.
Yeah, hi, level 0 report. Can you be straight through to the
Hi.
motherfucker that can boost me?
Suddenly
ordered
our
some paper
podcast
towels and-
explodes with
Yeah.
I just ordered some paper
I need
towels.
my
and I
TP
wanna
right
boost
now.
Yeah.
Dave, what have you been sleeping on since you poked a hole in your air mattress while you were
Well,
still
then-
diseased?
My fantastic wife gave up the bed and slept on the couch, and I slept in the bed.
Oh my God,
for 2
Therese,
nights, and then I tested
don't
negative
do
after
it.
that. So.
Therese, don't do that. He doesn't.
Yes,
he
make
doesn't
him sleep
deserve
on the
that.
couch.
Come
Why is
on.
shit?
You guys.
I guess you needed a door because you were
I-
disgusting.
I
and
tried to
diseased
sleep on the couch, but again, that's in the middle of the house. So
Sure.
in the morning you have to
Yeah.
disinfect all that shit. And me, I
How
mean,
many
could
times
just-
have you had it now?
twice.
I've had it thrice. So
I've
get
had it
in
3
line.
times, but 2 times I
bitch.
didn't feel a fucking thing, and I was like really bummed.
Yeah,
I
last 2
tested positive. I'm like,
times-
this is bullshit.
This time was
I'm
more like
sorry
an
you got it,
inconvenience.
Dave. That's annoying.
It was
Yeah,
like I was just tired
it is
and I had a little bit of a headache for a couple of
Yeah,
days.
you had the thing.
Apart from that, I was watching movies.
So
Fuck
good.
yeah! I can't
and
wait to hear
and my
what
wife
you've
was
been
bringing me
watching.
food. it was
Pretty
Sleeping
good.
on the
It's
couch.
basically
What a
you're a
life,
man
yeah.
from the 50s. Yeah.
And you claim the bedroom. What a COVID for you.
I didn't claim the bedroom. I tried to get out of that. She was adamant I had the bedroom. So
Yeah, is that where the air mattress went, Dave? You
Yeah.
quote unquote had Amazon lose it.
yeah, my elbow went through it.
It's unbelievable.
Shank,
That's a pointy elbow, bro.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I don't know.
It's well, it had these like support pads, and I guess the threads went around it because it had like a slow leak. It would go down over 2 days, like it'd start to go down. Like, I guess I found out where the fucking leak was.
Yeah, you got to pay for
'Cause my
quality
arm
on
went
the air
right through it.
mattress.
No, it
The
was. It
first
was like
person to
150,
ever
$200
identify a leak in the leak in their air mattress. No one has ever been able to find it.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw a quote, which is poverty charges interest. So it's like, if you're going to spend money on an air mattress and it's a little cheap, double that price and get that air mattress, because you will
Yeah.
have to get 2 air mattresses because that first air mattress is not going to make it through the night within a year. So just get the more expensive one and you're saving money down the road.
Well, this
Poverty
this,
charges interest.
this air mattress had lasted us 5-6 years. So
Okay, well, I don't
Yeah.
take it back. It stands.
yeah, because we spent the money in the first place.
All right, I have a lot of gripes, but I think we should get into the episode, so I'm going to do my really short one.
Good.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, fuck geese. All right, I'm sick and tired of them. I know that we know they're not swans. They're the shithole swans that nobody likes. But I'm running on a running path. Like, it is obviously a sidewalk. Those fucking sounds they make. It sounds like Tim the Tool Man in Home Improvement. Yeah, that's what they sound like. That's just fucking geese. But I'm running on the path, and the swans are fucking cool. And like, if there's a nest, that mama swan, that papa swan, they're like, get the fuck away from our nest. These geese are just standing there, and you're running by, and
Quite
then
a
they try to
neck.
come. They try to come and like try to fucking. They fucking try to peck away at your fucking
bite you right in the
shins and
freckle.
stuff, and it's like get the fuck off me, man! You don't have a, you're just pooping everywhere. You're doing nothing, and also you are so dead. You're so dead. Don't put your life in your hands by trying to fucking attack my shin. Live your own goddamn life. Fuck geese.
Let's eat a goose.
Yeah, we should eat more geese.
I think the Brits were onto something with the fucking Christmas goose, dude. Just cleaning the house
Stuffed
once a
goose,
year.
yeah. Turkeys. Turkey. Have you ever seen a turkey? They look cool as fuck. Geese are dumb. I'd rather eat 3 geese than kill one
I'm
turkey.
pretty sure if the British could get pigeons across the line, they'd be eating those for fucking Christmas too.
Turkeys are
Oh,
tough,
there's
too.
so many. Oh, pigeons are on all the Michelin star restaurants. I feel like everybody I know has had a bad experience with a goose at one point. Like when they were a kid, like
Yes,
some
exactly.
mallet.
Get
Like
rid of them.
what's
Start
the
eating them.
gander?
Yeah.
Gander, is that the male
Gander.
goose? A gander?
Yeah.
Those things are fucking aggressive, dude. There used to be a whole batch of them in this little pond next to the shitty skating rink in my town. Every
Fuck.
kid was attacked by these fucking
Yeah,
geese
fuck 'em.
when they were going to
Fuck 'em.
skate.
I know their V looks really cool. Not, I mean, the way they fly. It's like, is that the flying V
did
from
you just say Emilio Estevez? Is that what you just said?
Amelia? The flying V is so dumb. The flying V is so dumb. Oh my god, if I was an
I've been
opposing team.
tempted to rewatch the Mighty Ducks. Do you guys think I'm gonna cry? Do you like? Will I be moved?
Oh, yeah.
Or
It's
is
so
it gonna,
funny.
Okay.
Within 5 minutes, you're gonna watch this children's movie and see that he gets a DUI right away. And I'm like, oh my god, I forgot that's how this starts. He's driving a Ferrari drunk like 100
Oh my
miles an
God,
hour.
you're
I can't
so
believe
right.
I can't believe he doesn't murder so many people. And then he decides to make amends by coaching a hockey team and drives a limo onto ice. That's how this
Oh
movie
my
starts. I'm like, what? This is not the movie I was expecting. Oh my god.
What is the name of like his old sagey mentor? That the guy who like owns the rink.
Oh my god. Yeah,
You know
the Mr. Miyagi guy who has he sharpens the skates.
Yeah, he's so famous. Who is that guy? It's
He's like, if you
it's,
can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Oh, no, different movie. Sorry.
I mean,
You
honestly,
fucking-
yeah. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. Wow.
That
Wow.
old
Okay.
sagey guy is Hans.
Hans. Yeah.
Joss Ackland.
It's Joss Ackland. Yes. Thank you.
Oh my god,
Oh,
oh my
boy.
god, this picture. I'm sending you guys this picture of him and from The Apple. Oh my god, are you ready for this? Guys, we have an audio podcast, by the way.
yeah, I'm
we have
pretty
we have a
excited.
YouTube. We have a YouTube.
Everyone,
feed.
just imagine how hilarious this is.
Oh my god,
What, did
everybody
you
go
send it
look up
in our Zoom
Joss
chat
Ackland.
or?
I don't know what I did with it.
Okay, yeah,
Desktop.
it'll come through at some point. We'll move on.
All
Okay.
right. Are you guys ready to
I'm so
talk
ready.
about the film year 1962?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You read it
Me
that
too.
slowly at the end of last episode too. We were like, "What fucking
Did I read
year
it?
is it?"
Yeah,
You
I
said
was
it-
ready.
you
I was
said
ready
it-
30
you
seconds ago,
said it
motherfucker.
so
Finish
slow.
this.
No,
Yeah.
I'm still just trying to take a screenshot of this.
I know what you're doing.
this-
I know what you're doing. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm sending it. Look at that. That's Joss Ackland right there. Okay, cool.
I'm looking.
If I
So,
open that, it fucks up our entire video podcast.
okay, so you can't see it. So, John, will
Oh
just
my God, Vangelis.
It looks just like Vangelis. All right, guys. All right, I checked a couple different sites, so I will allow 2 different answers to our usual first
Okay.
question. But
Okay.
but I checked Box Office Mojo. No, I checked the numbers and then Wikipedia. But I'm going to go with the numbers. What was the highest grossing movie that came out in 1962?
I can't
Music
remember a
Man.
single movie that came out in 1962.
The Music Man.
We talked about a lot last week, Dave, but I do know you had short-term memory loss from the coronavirus.
Yes, I was
Um,
minus 10 years old.
The Music Man came in at number 5, John. Music Man came in at
What
number
the
5.
fuck? Wow, musicals usually just fucking crush it. Is it Lawrence of Arabia?
Lawrence of Arabia was on one list. According to the numbers and a couple other sites, Lawrence of Arabia was technically number 2. Number
Yeah.
1.
Number 2.
That's because Lincoln Center was already invented,
it?
and every
Wait,
film
wait.
whore in New York went to see it 6 times.
Is it
Fucking film
the
horror.
the amazing? We have talked about To Kill a Mockingbird before on the show. Is it To Kill a Mockingbird?
To Kill a Mockingbird came in at number 7 this year.
Oh my
on the
God! All
list.
right, just tell me. It's
It's
is
a movie called The Longest Day, which
The
is
Longest
about
Day.
the
Yeah.
D-Day invasions. So it's about the
I
D-Day.
love their war films.
Yeah, June 6th, 1944. That's right. So that came in at number 1 with $39 million is the 1962 gross on 55 million ticket sales. Lawrence of Arabia, number 2. In Search of Castaways comes in at number 3. That
The fuck?
touch of mink comes in at number 4. Music Man 5. And to round out the top 10, Mutiny on the Bounty, To Kill a Mockingbird,
Wow.
Hatari. It says Hatari, which is not to be confused with Harakari,
Or
which was
Atari.
a Kobayashi film. Hatari, Gypsy, and
Oh, Gypsy.
Lolita comes in at number 10. How the hell does Lolita come in at
Wow.
number 10? That's right. A couple other
It's the
fun movies
60s,
that came.
man.
A couple other fun movies
Good
that came out
movie.
this year. Days of Wine and Roses, about alcoholism. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance
the
came in at number
60s.
15. The Manchurian Candidate, State Fair, and who can forget Elvis's Girls, Girls, Girls.
Oh my God.
Also, shout out to Sanjuro came out this year. A couple pieces of film news before you guys shout any other movies out.
Oh, that's so funny.
Warner Brothers buys the rights for My Fair Lady for an unprecedented record $5.5 million.
Wow.
Bargain.
MCA finalizes their merger with Decca Universal. Hollywood.
Whoa. Yeah.
Hollywood legend Marilyn Monroe is found dead of a drug overdose, and somehow Dave is still alive after seeing Blonde, and he did not like it. September 7th, filming of War and Peace began and would continue for 5 years.
It's a 10-hour movie.
And Dr. No officially launches the James Bond series, the second longest running franchise next to Godzilla. Still running.
It launched it? That's the first one?
I think Casino Royale was like a TV something before it, but yeah, Dr. No was the first.
Wow, I
proper
did not
film.
know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Academy Awards. Lawrence of Arabia would win Best Picture and David Lean's first director Oscar.
Wow.
Although the acting category would be split. So Gregory Peck would famously win Best Actor for To Kill a Mockingbird, even though he won everything. Shit, forget I said it. Peter O'Toole didn't win shit for fucking Lawrence of Arabia. Is that crazy? And Bancroft.
Yeah, that's so
and
crazy.
Bancroft and Patty Duke would both win for The Miracle Worker, and Ed Begley would win for Sweet Bird of Youth. Those are your acting categories. And a couple other things. That's an Arthur Penn film, The Miracle Worker, and it's only one of 2 films to win 2 acting Oscars without being nominated for Best Picture. The next one would be HUD the following year. Palme d'Or went to Keeper of Promises, which was a Duarte film out of Brazil. The Golden Lion was tied between The Family Diary and My Name is Ivan, which is a Tarkovsky film. And
Yvonne's Childhood is the American title of that. If anybody wants to see it, it's brilliant.
And a Schlesinger film won the Golden Bear, A Kind of Loving, out of the UK.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Any other films you want to shout out?
I just want to. Is everybody listening, listeners? Did you hear that year? This is fucking crazy. I feel like we bring this up a lot. Like, oh, there's a lot of great movies. This is a crazy year. This is a nutso year. I just can't believe how many amazing movies there are. How the West Was Won also came out, which is kind of a big, massive, epic, multi-generational tale of the West. It's kind of one of the last giant epic westerns that was made. We're going to be talking about another western that kind of represents the end of an era in just a little bit. The Trial, Kafka's The Trial of the Orson Welles film came out this year. The original Cape Fear. Cleo 5 to 7, from 5 to 7, Agnes Varda, that really put her on the map.
Did we say whatever happened to Baby Jane, which we've also already talked about?
We've also talked about.
Isn't that the one episode where we accidentally released twice? So its numbers shot through.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Polanski's Knife in the Water, his first big film, they kind of launched him. Really crazy. Really unbelievable year. Sweet
Bird of Youth, I forget if you said that, with Paul Newman and Geraldine
Long Day's
Page.
Journey into Night. It's kind of interesting that you said I do think that societies are kind of nurtured by like what tends to be produced and put in front of them. Obviously, we're living in a very different time now with people being able to make stuff on their own and just put it on social media. But looking at those acting awards that you just mentioned, it makes me think of like people were still kind of taught to like look for a lot of dialogue driven, almost play adaptation kinds of roles. Yeah. Long Day's Journey into Night was another movie that came out this year. And these movies are great. I'm not downplaying them at all. But it's almost amazing to think about a time when people saw Lawrence of Arabia and didn't say, what he just did is perhaps, a different kind of thing than what Gregory Peck did, which was incredible. But I just don't know if I can even like put them in the same kind of world.
Yeah.
Anyway, amazing year. Let's do it.
Couple teeny tiny things happening around the world. France transfers sovereignty of the new Republic of Algeria. The Cuban Missile Crisis was going on this year. I think that's important. They lift the blockade after Russia backs down. Yeah, how about that? Pope John the 23rd, 23 Pope Johns, opens the Second Vatican Council, just the Second Vatican Council. Cuba also released 1,100 prisoners that were taken in 1961 from their invasion attempt the year before. And let's see, a bunch of like Trinidad and Tobago became independent, Uganda, Samoa, Jamaica, Burundi. There were a lot of independencies that were found this year. And fucking Richard Nixon lost the California gubernatorial race. This motherfucker lost the presidency in 1960, lost the governorship in 1962, and just kept fucking going. No wonder no wonder he was going to lead to an impeachment. He just can't get over himself. He can't get over it. Johnny Carson would begin hosting duties at The Tonight Show. The first transatlantic television transmission occurred via the Telstar satellite, making worldwide television and cable networks a reality. And government regulations forced studios out of the talent agency business, and everything was great in Hollywood afterwards. Also, James Baldwin's Another Country was released. And James Glenn was the first American to orbit the Earth, but he didn't do it just once. John Glenn did it 3 times.
Jim Glenn, ladies and gentlemen.
Jay Glenn. For some reason, my font is very small and italics. Okay, enough. Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962. John Ford, Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne. Funny enough, Jimmy Stewart got the title, got the #1 shot on the bill right off the gate. But then John Wayne, I guess, had a broader appeal for whatever reason. So when the movie was released to most theaters around the country, they were told to put John Wayne at the top of their poster instead of Jimmy Stewart.
Wow.
How about that? So a little battle for that top slot.
Pretty impressive. Yeah.
Let's get into it. I think we get the pitch.
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to read you the pitch and then shoot from the gut. What'd you think? What'd you feel? This is available on Prime and apparently Fubo.
And Paramount Plus.
And P+, that's right. I never trust P+ with those extensions and shit.
Well, it still exists.
Well, it still exists.
Check it out. You can't see my can.
That's not something they said often in a movie in the 60s.
Do you guys see my picture?
I do.
Yes.
I have a reveal for there. Yeah, that's John Ford. All right. A senator returns to a western town for the funeral of an old friend and tells the story of his origins. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. What'd you think? What'd you feel? I want to know right off the bat, Dave. Did you get Tombstone vibes from this?
Not really.
Okay, forget it.
I feel like, I feel like this would have. I'm going to tell you. The Paramount, first of all, the Paramount Plus version of this has graphics artifacts during the opening on screen. Like you can see the squares where the graphics haven't quite like transferred properly. So what? it's a pretty shitty like transfer of the movie on Paramount Plus. So maybe get it off somewhere else.
I watched it on Prime.
Prime was. I didn't notice any squares.
Yeah.
But I do want to say this was the first time watch for me. I've never seen this. I've heard all about it. I've never seen it. It really starts off slow, and I was a little worried, and I really didn't need to be, because
Yay!
they get you used to it, and then it's roaring along at a fantastic pace. But there were a couple of little editing glitches at the beginning that just didn't work for me and stuff like that. But that was the only fault I could find in this.
You're talking about the punch in on the stagecoach of the.
Fuck oath, I'm talking about the punch in on the stagecoach.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's two weird punch ins in this movie.
You see that shit on YouTube.
They used to do it, man. It used to be a thing. Him and Capra used to do that. Anyway, sorry. I know exactly what moment you're talking about. You got to imagine though, Dave. Don't you think that like? And I want to hear you continue, but the pacing of the beginning, like for an audience back then, they wouldn't have noticed that at all, right?
No.
Like there's
they wouldn't have. But again, watching it as a modern audience, it's like when you're a workaholic and you go on holiday, it takes you a little bit of time to slow down at their pace, but take the time. Take the time to slow down at their pace. It's worth the payoff.
Anything else for now? You want to
think about when you're alcoholic.
No, I'm going to leave it at that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have questions later, but...
Sure. This was a rewatch for me. I've only seen it once, and then I think I mentioned to you guys Criterion 24/7. Yeah, I put that on quite a bit now. And this was on maybe a month or so ago, like right when it first launched. And I keep sitting down, eating meals and stuff. So I think I watched like 10 or 15 minutes of like somewhere in the third act a couple months ago. And honestly, I'd kind of forgotten because I didn't get all the way to the shootout. It was kind of right before that section, about 10 or 15 minutes before that. This movie, and I have not seen enough John Ford movies. And by the way, Ben Mankiewicz of TCM is doing a really great, he has a really great podcast, as you can imagine, that TCM provides, which is basically, it's called The Plot Thickens. And each season they do kind of a different thing. Right now he's doing John Ford. So if anyone wants to go deep dive on John Ford, The Plot Thickens, is a great podcast that is kind of touching him right now. I'm only saying that because this man was extremely prolific, coming out of the silent era, really, really successful go-to right out of the gate. So he was heavily employed immediately and made enormous amounts of movies that I have not seen enough of, but I've seen a lot of the big ones, the famous ones, and this one is still my favorite. He's a sentimental man. And
It's your favorite John Ford. This is your favorite John Ford.
Yeah. And I still have, there are a lot that I still haven't seen, but this is, I think, my favorite John Ford. And maybe I should caveat it that it's certainly my favorite John Ford Western. And that might be important for the way we're going to talk about what this movie means for Westerns in a little bit. But yeah, it's I don't know. This thing always gets me because there's something to the performances are fun. You might come for the performances, you recognize the names, you think it's going to be something that has to do with a shootout. And then you start to realize in the second act that this is about, I say this all the time, right? I love movies that are about this much subject matter that end up speaking to this much of the human condition and the world's issues. This is a movie that you think is going to be about a Western shootout that is actually about politics in the West.
This is the least Western I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it probably is. It's one reason why I think it's so attractive. It also subverts the ideas of Western mythology, a lot of which John Ford helped create, and ended up dictating an enormous mythos across the world for what Westerns mean and what America is, and the way he kind of deconstructs that. Probably not meaning to. I'm sure he wasn't conscious of that, and he would probably say "fuck off" if you try to talk about it. But
well,
there's something
apparently he said that to everyone. So.
Sure, yeah.
The stories of his treatment of cast are not flattering.
It's also just fun if you're a fan of his, and I know this might be a hot take, to say this, but if you enjoyed him and John Wayne's collaboration, starting with the Ringo Kid and the Stagecoach, this is the last one that they kind of did together with him in that kind of role. So it's the bookend to their collaboration, which was very successful, very long time, and very much played into what the American man and that masculinity was. And to see when you see it, listeners, when you see John Wayne put in this kind of role and ultimately playing that kind of sacrifice, he does that with them over and over and over again. But for some reason, this one means more because the sacrifice lent itself to an even larger purpose: statehood, politics, the progression of an entire community and society.
I do love that this was the thing that generated the famous memory of John Wayne referring to people as pilgrim as well, because this was the first time he used it, I think.
Is that right?
He did in Stagecoach too. So the Ringo Kid in the first, so like literally there's like a kind of how Clint Eastwood plays like the gunslinger, the man with no name. There's a little bit of that with the way John Wayne reappears in these kinds of roles in John Ford's universe. And this is the last time. And he says it a lot in this one. Like it almost is like they're taking a bow. I don't think they planned on that. I don't think that was intentional, but it feels like that in his canon. Anyway, I'll shut up. Jeff, what do you think, dude?
First of all, I'm going to change my background. You ready?
Give it to me.
Tell me this
scene.
Yeah. Tell me that's not that whole scene. I was like, oh my God, let me get out of the way. Yeah. Look at that. Oh my God. I love this movie. Was so great. I love this movie so much.
Oh, good. Yes.
It was so fucking. It was right down the pipe. It was so good for me. Unexpected. I don't know why I didn't. Well, first, I didn't. I don't know why I didn't expect Jimmy Stewart to be a senator. I don't know why I didn't expect that. I thought, it's as a West. I know he's wearing a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, and they never named the state or territory that they're in. I guess it's some kind of legend. So it's not. I was waiting for them to say Oklahoma, or whatever. It was nothing. They just didn't name it.
At one point, they say west of the Buttes, and I imagine the Buttes are the Monument Valley Buttes, so it's probably west of that area of Arizona and Utah. But whatever, it's somewhere.
They didn't have statehood yet. They're on the frontier.
Yeah,
that flag had like 30 stars on it.
Oh, you counted them? Because I was going to go back and count them.
It was on its way.
Fuck it.
I was trying to hope it was in threes, so it was an even number. There were 3 lines of stars, whatever. How did John Ford possibly stand living in California? Or living in Los Angeles and in Hollywood? Like, he just seems made for the outdoors. He just loves it. So even in the studio stuff, I know they shot this in like Thousand Oaks, I'm sure.
That was
very mountainous back then.
Most of this was studio, actually.
Yeah, this is ironic because this is when he was working at Paramount and not when he was making a lot of his big westerns at Fox for Daryl Zanuck. When he made his big westerns for Daryl Zanuck, he went to Monument Valley. So he was on location for that's another reason why this is such a unique western for him, because he shot it mostly on a fucking soundstage down the street from me at fucking Paramount. Like it's very, very weird. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
I think the actors in this movie are given some great simple storytelling, a great script. It's so simple. It becomes a little bit of a revenge tale, but instead of your typical, and obviously they play on it, that instead of fighting guns with guns, you have this whole I'm gonna put him in jail, and then John Wayne coming forth. He's like, yeah, that'll scare him. What'll prevent it from coming back? A gun. Well, and of course, I love early on. You talk about the pacing, Dave. I was kind of thrown when Jimmy Stewart. I don't know. It's John Wayne. He opens the casket, and he's like, "Where is his gun belt?" I was like, "Whoa,
where are his boots?"
Yeah. Well, he's so angry about him not wearing his gun belt. It's like, bro, he's dead. It's okay. And yeah, I just love the setup. The marshal, who is definitely the guy from Robin Hood. He's definitely the friar from Robin Hood. You can't,
dude. He came across like Wimpy from Popeye to me.
Sure.
It's like,
I mean, he's a cartoon voice. He didn't have to do any voice acting. He just had to talk, and then he was yeah. But anyway, like the Pompey, that whole opening before you even get anywhere, it's almost like you open with Christmas Future with Scrooge, and you're like,
yeah.
I get it. I don't even need the prerequisite, or I don't even need the script beforehand. I'm already in. I can see this clear as day. So
I will say
that was
that first scene where it's the retired marshal and the wife sitting on the stagecoach just delivering their lines straight off camera.
Yeah.
I was like, did I put on fucking Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something instead? This is getting weird. Like
Also,
the way they delivered the lines, it was just like they were in a cult or something.
Yeah. And they kept talking
like,
about,
don't look at each other.
and she kept saying like the cactus flowers are in bloom, and then they did a 1/2 second cutaway to some cactus flower in the distance, and then cut back to their face. I was like, what? That's the fucking bloom there? We are in a shithole desert. If they're like, look at this bloom, and they're like, cut, and it's like, I just saw some spikes.
Yeah,
I didn't even see any.
3 hours to drive out there and get that shot.
Anyway, I think ultimately what was so great about this is just how clear their points of view were, which was totally lended from the story. So Jimmy Stewart it's not a surprising thing that this lawyer, also he did not look like a young man, but that's okay. They're definitely clearly in their 50s, in the 60s, which is like a current 70. So when they're playing young men in like 20s, yeah, come on.
The guy later in the movie where he's like, you're too young to vote, and kicks him out. Well, I guess he was supposed to be a teenager, but he looked fucking 40.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it 90210 up in this motherfucker?
Honestly, literally, yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it was really well done. I thought the politics touch was good. It was just enough. It wasn't too political. It wasn't Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, obviously. I just thought it was really captivating. And then, yeah, John Wayne, even though he's still John Wayne, he plays this more tender person who doesn't let the person drink, and he obeys the rules. And yes, he still says, you're pretty when you're angry to a woman, but like you get also how that doesn't work, and the way he succumbs to that later. It's just,
I mean, he's come a long way from grabbing that
great.
kid and beating the shit out of his ass.
I'll raise a question to you guys, and each time I watch this now, because I remembered like as I was watching it, a sense memory occurred from the first time I watched it. It's shot on a soundstage. It's not on location. John Ford is usually known for these large vistas, and not to take anything away, his fucking opening shot is just so good. The train coming around the bend, it's shit we take for granted nowadays.
I need to ask a question.
That shit.
Did you notice from the external shot to where it picked up at the train station that the door in the car had moved?
No.
The door was in the middle when it came around. There were no like other windows, and when the train pulls up, the door's at one end with all windows behind it. I'm like, is that a different fucking train?
Yeah, it's
definitely a different train
for sure.
If not,
that didn't fit in the studio.
Yeah. We'll just blame Paramount Plus for that too. But it was definitely
right.
It was definitely a different train.
In the Amazon version, it has like proper.
I bet you John Ford noticed it too, and he knew it, and he was pissed off that he had to use it.
Oh, somebody got fucking destroyed that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't let it go either. Every day there was whipping boy.
John Ford almost lost his other eye that day.
His family is still calling their family, going, remember that time you fucked up his train?
All right, hold on. We cut John off in a thought.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
okay,
This is,
okay.
I mean, all this this is fucking wonderful.
Shinbone.
Shinbone oh yeah, okay. So what? But somehow, so I guess I was just saying that like there aren't these sweeping. We're not in Monument Valley. We are in a studio. It's in black and white, which was a choice, folks. He didn't have to do that, right? So like we're in this limited space that he creates aesthetically, intentionally, clearly, and somehow out of that, it doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel like there's artifice to it. The most important element, I think, for this story to succeed is for you to actually feel as isolated in this unknown small Western town as Jimmy Stewart does. And there's enough moments of silence and the way the cinematography isn't just full of these giant
John's
wide
frozen
shots
in
that
thought
kind
for
of make you
just a
feel like
second
you're in
there.
a safe
Whoa. Yeah, what
world
happened
of
to
a
him? He
fake
just turned into
movie.
Socrates.
There's that
That's-
sensation that you're like, oh my God,
Look
he
at
has
him.
no one.
Again,
I have no
that's
one.
going on the video.
We're
It's-
stuck
it's-
here.
I feel like his house
He
is
has
blacked
to
out.
eventually
Somebody
deal
with
used
his
too
problem.
much air
I'm
conditioning
getting-
or something.
That's what.
Oh,
There it
no, I
is.
missed the
Just disappear?
screenshot. Did I get the screenshot? I don't know.
Oh no, did it disappear?
Yeah, you froze
were
completely.
gone. Oh, no, you're back. You were like this for so long.
Oh my God! What was the last thing I said? So I don't
Fuck, I have
fucking
no
sound like an
idea.
asshole.
I mean, it recorded.
Isolation?
So it'll still come out. It's fine.
We
Okay,
got,
okay.
We got isolation. Jimmy Stewart in this town, and then something
Having
like
to
that.
do, I was just saying, having to deal with the fact that he is accountable because no one's coming to save you. He is the only law. That idea that in those early Western places, which is, it's still we are fucking American. I grew up in this place, and it's still hard to imagine that being the case. And we have hundreds of
Not
movies
that
that are about this exact thing, and there aren't. What?
It's not
I
that
said,
hard.
not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think it's hard to imagine that. And I feel like this movie does it very, very, very well without using a lot of like cinema tricks. There's a lot of really great silence and the sound design. And maybe more than anything, is kind of what you were saying, Jeff. The story is so simple and the relationships are so clear. And there are so few people in that town that you are aware that like they are the only ones who can change this. And Jimmy Stewart is kind of the tip of that spear. And I don't know, it just makes it like this is really just like a fucking story about a bully. Right? This guy's just mean and a fucking asshole.
I mean, and he does kill
Marvin's
people.
character.
I find it
Lee Marvin's awesome.
fascinating. I do find it fascinating that like the press, where they're like the press have a right to this, the press have a right to that. It's like you don't have a right to anything, you leech. But like that hasn't changed. People are still walking around trumpeting that thing. It's like, but now it's the public has a right to know. They've just changed the narrative a little bit. And stuff like that, like the sheriff, like who just doesn't do his job. And all those little things, and like when they get later into the politics things, it was quite funny. I actually thought when they announced the first nominee and the guy rides in on a horse and does rope tricks around the guy,
and the horse drinks the water.
I'm like,
Angela said that.
fucking hell, man! Congress hasn't changed at all.
There was a horse ran from the back of this theater on
Some Will Rogers
the
shit.
stage.
Yeah.
Onto the stage and then back out again. That is some Will Rogers shit.
Basically,
for
if you've seen the new series Fallout on Amazon, that is the shit that they were doing. The stuff he does in the first.
That was the second one. Yeah, I think. Yeah, and it's great. It happens, obviously. So
Yeah.
you know, we get that stagecoach getting robbed, with Jimmy Stewart, and they tear up his books, and it's just so obvious, but it still sucks and it hurts. And the way they cut the front runners, they cut the front two horses off, and the way they beat the shit out of him. And then you have the one weird sniveling guy that is probably overacting with Lee Van Cleef again. He's in like all the best Westerns. I fucking love Lee. Whenever I see his name in the opening credits, I'm like, yes. But just the way, and then he comes back and then he's like, wait a second, he's got to wash dishes. He's a lawyer. He's got to wash dishes so that he can live somewhere. And how can he actually get anything done if nobody in the town can fucking read? It's like, this is just not what I expected from the gun-swinging Western that is literally called The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, a.k.a. somebody is going to shoot Liberty Valance in this movie. But first, you got to know the law. Like, it's just not expected. It's so surprising. Also, that
Which is
set piece
why-
was so long. That restaurant set
Also,
piece was very
Can I-
long.
when we talk about filmmaking
What a
techniques,
sequence,
let's just take a second to appreciate some of the stuff that they were forced to do. I did read that the choice of studio, like film in the studio, and to go black and white was actually studio keeping the costs down because they wouldn't pay for color film. But I don't know for sure because
they had too many stars.
Ford's actually been said to say that he likes working in black and white because you have to. That's where the true film happens because you have to get your shadows right and everything, and like he nailed it. But some of the again, the shadows in this, the absence of light in this, when they play with some of the night scenes, it's not your traditional bright Western. There's like you can see in the shot that Jeff has, like the shot that Jeff was talking about, the one behind him. He the gunfight. Most of it happens. You can't see a single person's face,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great. But also things like outside the sets, the forced perspective backgrounds were fucking next level, man. Those guys were artists. Like you look at it and you know that's not real, but you have to look twice to go, that's not real, right?
They would have. That's because they would have gotten castrated if John Ford saw anything out of place.
yeah. But also, like, they probably just fucking got it right the first time. Like, those guys were fucking artists.
How many people died in that pub, do you think, over the course of its life? Every single day, people are just so raucous. That doctor declaring Liberty Valance dead is one of my favorite moments in cinema. He says, get me a whiskey. They get him a whiskey, and then he drinks it. The doctor drinks it, and then he looks down, kicks him with his foot, and said, he's dead, and then he walks away with the whiskey. It's so good. Anyway, so it still has all of those moments. I love that. The bar's not open. The bar is not open. Are we finished business here? It's like, yep, we are finished. He goes, then the bar is open. And everybody,
and you can see the bar shaking from everybody pushing up against it.
You have the gun training sequence, the same one in Unforgiven and all the other ones. You've got the shootout, you've got the duel, you've got the be out there and don't run and hide. You have all of the sequences, but it's such a small, that's not what the movie's about. And that's what's so fun.
Yeah, there's also some wonderful comedy written in there. Where
Beer's not drinking.
Oh, dude, I want to say I've used that same excuse for my wife. I didn't get my beer either.
Yeah.
But no, I'm talking about I came by stagecoach. This could be the same one. I think it is the same one. When he brushes the dust off the thing, I laughed out loud. It was there's some fantastic comedy in this.
Also, I didn't understand his first line at all, and I loved it. He goes make Jason on time. I was like, what the fuck did Jimmy Stewart just say? I literally had to rewind it twice. And he's like, thank Jason on time. I was like, what? I didn't understand.
He is full Stewart in this movie. There's no holds barred Jimmy Stewart.
It was like, how would I have a Western? How would I have a Western accent?
That's one of the few problems I did have with this.
Oh, no.
It's James Stewart and John Wayne's acting styles do not match.
I thought that was the point. I thought that was what was so good.
I thought that was okay.
But it's like you've got drawl and completely over emote everything.
Yes.
Not as bad as Starbuckle at the end, the dude that was the fucking Shakespearean actor they hired to do the speech in the Congress thing.
Who's an opera singer?
Dude, that explains it because he over.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if he was. I'm saying that's what he sounded like.
Fucking overacted more than Dear Evan Hansen.
Jesus Christ! But that's what he was. That's what he was doing, though. He was doing a fake oratory with the speech that he didn't write. But no, I actually thought you meant the drunk.
I did find it a little jarring though, going from John Wayne, who obviously felt very comfortable in his role and his style and that sort of thing, and then you got Stewart just going over the top on some shit, and it was a little bit of whiplash for me.
I liked it because you almost forgot that there's a woman at the middle. That's really what this is about. That's what it comes down to. And maybe they could have done more with it. I don't know if they needed to. But John Wayne drinking after shooting Liberty, though we don't know, and having Pompey in the bar and everything. It's like Anyway, I thought that was great. The only jarring things, Dave, that I will admit for sure is the newspaper man was doing a theatrical, almost like clown show mime thing when he was drunk and talking to himself, but he was definitely playing out a lot. I was surprised that because that's not in the same reality that I thought the rest of the movie was in. That was definitely a theatrical, almost winking at the audience, farcical, that kind of stuff got to me a little bit, or at least caught me off guard. But whereas everything else is grounded. Pompey is one of the best, most realistic, grounded acting, like as a supporting role.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
so good. Anyway, John, back to
Yeah.
you.
I liked. No. I thought the contrast between them. Yeah, I thought that was kind of intentional. And is John Wayne kind of the metaphor? Is that kind of man the metaphor for the West as well? Is the woman Vera Miles who plays?
Oh yeah, I guess
Hallie,
yeah, city country.
Is she? Yeah, is she the metaphor for the West as well?
Well, they
these
called
men
him a
love
big
the
city
idea of
lawyer, and I
what-
was like, what? I was like, anyway, I guess he was. Sorry.
Yeah, wherever he's from, the East. So I feel like it works on different levels, but that contradiction is necessary, and it did, like you said, it ended up yielding some like. There's always a little bit of comedy in like all these moments, which helps it not just be so sentimental. Because otherwise, I think it may have gotten dragged down by that stuff. I loved Edmund O'Brien, who played.
He was great. Of course, he was great. He was awesome.
The newspaper man, and especially I know the movie you're talking about. He's singing. He's like
No more
what's
courage.
The Henry V. What's the
St. Crispin's
Henry
Day. He does the St.
St.
Crispin's Day.
V, yeah.
The reveal of the villains there was scary.
Yes, with the
but
light
I
coming
thought,
on.
my God, his speech to nominate Jimmy Stewart at the convention is
That was awesome.
unbelievable.
It was wonderful.
It's
And he was-
magnificent when he really pulls himself together, and I mean that was just so moving.
That was the one thing I did like. This writing in this has some clever jabs at like law and government,
yeah.
which are either funny or triggering to a modern audience depending on your nihilism level.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, when Woody Strode, Pompey, is reciting the first line of the Constitution, and he can't remember that all men are created equal, and so a lot of people forget that part.
Yeah.
You know, there's just all these like little
yeah.
commentary
I
things,
love
but
that
they
line.
never feel preachy. They never feel too thematic, even though it's like in every line, on every page, in every scene. It's right there. But there's enough grounded characters who are doing something so simple to deal with each other that it just kind of dissolves. Not to go back to it, but I do feel like the Lee Marvin presence and Van Cleef and his other little guy who's, I can't remember that guy's name, who's his other
A little bit of a buffoon,
henchman
but
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Just his presence, I still kind of can't get over. And I guess this was really real. You know, you feel it with like Back to the Future 3 with Tannen, and
Well, I was
you
going to
feel
bring
it
that
in
up.
a lot of the other movies.
I
that, like,
was
the
wondering.
bully is the
I was
bully
wondering,
is
did that
present.
inspire that?
Probably.
Because
the bully is
like look at the
present.
movements
the
he's
murderer
doing.
is there.
Like you watch Biff Tannen in Back to the Future 3, and you watch him.
He's got the whip.
Well, not
Yeah,
just
he's
the
got
whip.
the-
When he comes out, like when he's staggering around and stuff, it's the same movements as when he comes out of the gunfight at the end.
Wouldn't be surprised. But the fact that he's allowed to be there, and that we are using the weapon and the object of law, which at that point is only legitimate if you choose to believe in it, to separate them between like whether or not he can be held accountable or not.
Fake law.
The way they have him just appear, it's I just can't believe how smart it is. The first time they show him, he's a rough and tumbling saloon style, comes in for the stakes. They have their showdown, rolls out, shoots up the fucking town and leaves. And you're like, a little cliche, but like, I guess that's scary. And that's what it feels like. Some of the next times you see him, he is just a member of that community. He's gambling. He's coming in for the vote. He's literally like just threatening them in front of everybody. He beats the shit out of them right there in the middle of town in the printing press, and then just goes and has a drink and starts gambling. Like that I feel like is so effective. You can't escape these people who are such a threat all the time. And the only way to escape them is to believe in this idea of law. That is fucking just, that is terrifying.
Reminds you of High Noon. That's a High Noon shout out. We did High Noon while you were on hiatus.
I'm mad I missed that. Yeah.
It's okay. That was the first way. Can we talk about these? I agree with you 100%. And I just think it was such a good touch to have all of the politics with all of the land and all of the classic and then I thought it was really well done. Can we talk about some of these names? Major Cassius Starbuckler.
Unbelievable.
Custis Buck Lomhorn. Ranson Stoddard. Tom Donovan, of course. Dutton Peabody. Marshall Link Appleyard. Doc Willoughby. Maxwell Scott. Amos Carruthers. and Pompey. I mean, what an incredible set of names.
And don't forget Liberty Valance. What a badass. What a fucking amazing name.
And then
Yeah.
Liberty Valance.
I mean, really good. And it's not Donovan. I always forget that it's Donovan.
Donovan with
Phon.
All set in Shinbone.
All set in Shinbone.
Shinbone.
It's Shinbone.
And then at the end, he's like, you know what? What if I give it up and we just move here, proving that you can always find your Shinbone, especially when you walk behind a car with a tow bar in the dark. So,
Shinbone.
There's so many times too when I was watching this when like you remember that moment.
Sorry, I meant to solve before we do this, but gosh, this.
Yeah, we're gushing. We're gushing.
Sorry.
There's so many times when I felt this, but yes, authentic to the times. But when Hallie and her kind of she's not her mother, right? That wasn't supposed to be her mother, was he? Nora.
No.
Yeah, so like the tavern owner, when they're like so proud of it was a very sweet moment when the husband of Nora's husband is like, I'm an American citizen now, I'm gonna go vote. And they like go see him off and they're just so happy and proud of him that like he's going to be an elect. And then they get in that saloon where they're not allowed to drink yet. And you have all these men. And then you have another man come in and threaten to kill all the other men if they don't vote a certain way. There was a part of me that was like, if those bitches could just come in here, if this was reversed and all the women in town, America would be way further and every fucking, it's just like all.
we'd have flying fucking cars and everything.
I mean,
we'd finally have flying cars.
Very obvious reason. I mean, every time John Wayne and Liberty Valance look at each other, it is just a dick measuring right? Like every single time that they were facing off, I just couldn't help but laugh. There were so many moments in this movie where I was like, and men are the problem. This is pretty simple to solve here. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys liked it.
Enough steaks. We've had enough. They made so many steaks.
Did you see that steak that she threw in that fucking pan? Oh my God.
He's like, can I just have one more steak? I was like, another steak?
Really? No wonder you don't live past fucking 40.
Those are 4 steaks, a bunch of potatoes, and who needs a vegetable? It's like, guys, how did they poop? Like, they probably all died from constipation.
How do they poop?
Well, they're riding a horse. It kind of knocks it out.
The cuff.
The horse just churns it up into butter. All right, people, I think we can settle up our...
We didn't really... just very quickly, I guess I just want to just mention it. We don't have to like talk about it, but this was kind of seen as like kind of the bookend to the Westerns. It was one of the last like really successful Westerns. How the West was one that came out the same year did not do as well as they wanted it to, even though it was still seen as successful. It didn't get that like iconic, like listing at the time. And looking back, a lot of people just seem to think that this might be one of the last ones of that period where Hollywood still relied on them as a staple genre. They could discuss a lot of different themes of America. So I just,
you're not talking about the Leones, because the Leones were technically after this.
Yeah, I think the Sergio Leone Westerns, obviously they're not American made either. I think they are the bridge between what we call classic Hollywood on the decline and new Hollywood. They are between them. Yeah, that's how I think. So anyway, I just feel like there's a lot of obvious metaphor and themes that are happening in this movie that are literally commenting on that. And they're so well done that you still can just enjoy the movie. You don't need to know anything about Hollywood history to just enjoy this film.
Yeah,
anyway.
you could watch this right now and you wouldn't suffer for it. It's
on Prime.
It's fun on Prime.
Maybe don't watch it on
one thing
Paramount
that Prime.
Plus. What is it? The graphics.
The one thing that Prime will actually send to your fucking house these days. You can watch that. Right.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
And with that, fellas, it's time to tease next year. So we're going to spin the random year generator to see what year we're going to be talking about. And then we're going to do what you've been watching. And we'll finish up this episode with the actual film we'll be discussing next week. But let's spin the year to give us a tease. Dave, what do you say?
Does anyone want to guess what year it's going to be?
82.
What'd you say, John?
1984.
82.
Here we go.
Damn it.
2000. 201. 2010.
Oh,
the year we made contact.
Yes. The year we made contact. 2010.
That is true.
Wait, we didn't actually make contact in 2010, did we? That Jodie Foster film.
No. But I think
No.
you and I
That
met
would've-
in 2010.
would've
I thought
worked.
that's what you were talking about.
No, that's the tagline to the 2010 movie.
All right.
The
Well,
sequel to
we'll-
2001.
Yeah.
Well, as we say, people, we're not going to sit here and talk about what's better, Inception, Red, Shutter Island. We're going to go ahead and tell you what we've been watching so we don't just Google this in front of you, and then we'll finish it up. So, Dave, we'd like to start with you. You just told us you watched a lot from your comfy bed.
Well, some of
What
those
have
I
you been
ran through
watching?
last week. But this week I was a little more awake, and I caught Axel F, the Beverly Hills Cop
Oh, yeah.
movie
Oh,
on
yes.
Netflix. Oh my fucking God, they nailed it.
Really?
It's funny. Like, he's a little slower, but all the characters are there. They do a nostalgia romp with some of the other characters. Some of these guys are looking pretty old now, but they still bring it. And there's this extra storyline now with a daughter. There's threats. The soundtrack is there. It's just it's like going back to the first two Beverly Hills Cop movies.
Wow.
It was actually, we sat down and watched it, and I must admit, Therese started on her phone, and then the phone went down,
Yeah.
and she watched the rest of the
Aw.
movie.
Nice.
So yeah, it's fun. It's like, you can tell he's older, he's more mature, but he still brought it. And then they bring back some of the old characters, and it was just great. Also, finally, they sorted out the fucking licensing, and Alien Covenant is on Hulu. So I was finally able to follow up Prometheus. I had seen it before, but I could never remember how it ended or anything like that. It's actually a damn fine, like, alien film as such. Well, a film in itself.
Prometheus?
Yeah. No, not
I think so
Prometheus.
too.
Covenant. Covenant is a damn
Covenant.
fine. It's a damn fine film.
I should
But you
rewatch
can tell he's already going down the path towards the Max series that he did in the same world. Because there's
okay.
like certain religious overtones, and they changed the aliens up a little bit and stuff like that. You still definitely get like at least one big fucking alien, but and then finally on Hulu, on Netflix, The Little Things. This was something we were talking about doing a couple of years ago when it came out.
Mhm.
I thought we did do it.
No, we didn't
Matt
end
and
up
Mark
doing
did
it.
it. Yeah. Sorry.
I dug it. I actually really
Jared
dug
Leto,
it. It's-
Denzel Washington?
Yeah. I mean, what a cast! Like, Denzel's always going to bring it for me.
Sure.
But it's like, it kind of felt like a cross between Zodiac and Seven in tone.
Nice.
I'm not saying it's as good a film as either of those, but it definitely felt like it in tone. So I
Yes,
enjoyed the watch.
It feels like a 90s like dark crime.
Yeah, and
thriller.
there's definitely a mystery. The only thing missing from this is a fucking narration, as far as I can tell. It's worth a watch. That's the end
nice. I'm trying to find something that. Anyway, I will just talk about it because I told y'all I'll slowly kind of like be catching up because I watched a bunch of stuff over the break. I definitely watched for the first time, and I will admit this, that I'd never seen Alexander Payne's Election. Have y'all ever seen that movie? The Reese Witherspoon, Matthew Broderick, like the OG
Yep.
one. No, you hadn't.
Not from beginning to end. It was like on TV a lot in the early 2000s, and so like I never saw the whole thing. You know, when you've seen clips of it online and like TV, and then you never felt like renting it because it's like, oh, I've seen some of it. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. So I watched that, and then I have still been catching up. I still have been rewatching Succession. I know maybe it's too soon. Maybe everybody knows it. We've already had the discussions, but like I cannot stop laughing. It's just so excellent.
Favorite character?
I still have to give that a go.
Oh, it's Tom Waskamp.
It's still
Like,
Tom. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, without a fucking doubt in my mind.
I mean, I'm only just watching Ted Lasso, so I'm way behind on these cult shows.
I love Brian Cox.
really? Oh,
dude,
dude, you should get in there. It's great.
Angela, I watched this reality docuseries about a woman who was kidnapped and maybe faked her own kidnapping. Called
Yep.
The Perfect Wife.
Yeah.
It's crazy story. Crazy story. We watched that. Presumed Innocent. We'll keep going with that. Pretty fun. We got
I need
more
to catch
on
up.
that
Yeah.
coming for sure. The Bear. I think we talked a little bit about starting that a week ago, and And then Quiet Place Day 1, we already talked about. So yeah, that's it. That's it for me right now.
I'll throw one more out. It was a movie worth mentioning. I watched it quite a while ago, several weeks ago, but it's an old movie. Joseph L. Mankiewicz directed this, but it's a Tennessee Williams play called Suddenly Last Summer.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. It's I kind of don't even tell you what the plot is. But if anyone wants to go on kind of a wild, weird ride and you're like, wow, they wrote this in the 50s, like the way it builds to this woman being kind of gaslighted into being crazy. Elizabeth Taylor, Montgomery Clift plays a psychiatrist who's trying to understand why Katharine Hepburn, her aunt, wants her lobotomized, and you eventually realize this crazy reveal of what Liz Taylor witnessed. And it's just, it was like, wow, yeah, they write crazy shit back then, and we just don't think they do.
Totally crazy.
But,
anyway,
good movie.
one more. We rewatched Joker with Joaquin.
Getting
How
ready.
was it?
It's really a great film. It's a fantastic movie,
Yeah.
and holy shit, Joaquin is
He's skinny.
so
He's skinny.
he's skinny, but he's so incredible. It just gets, it's like the more I rewatch it, the better he is. He's amazing.
Is he your favorite actor to watch right now?
I don't know,
Okay.
Christian. I've been thinking about like Christian Bale, for certain things that he's done, depending on the movie, I guess, with certain choices. Maybe the two of them.
All right. Cool. Let's take a break and let's pick our movie, and we'll be right back. And we're back.
And we're back.
Oh, we're back.
All right, friends. It's not just because we're having fun pronouncing the name of this movie, but we have made a decision for our 2010 film that we want to rewatch, and it is available to stream. Where? On Prime?
On Prime.
It's on Prime.
Dave loves Amazon.
As you have, if everybody has the normal, it's Prime with ads. Unless you pay them the extra like $30 a year to not have ads on top of the $200 they're already charging you to not deliver your shit.
Look, Amazon needs a little extra money these days.
He's coming for you, Bezos. Are you listening?
Oh, my
People,
fucking air mattress.
Dave's not giving him that $30. He's not giving him that dollar, so he's watching this with ads. People, we are talking about Denis Villeneuve's early successful film, Incendies. Incendies.
Or as they call it
How
in
do you pronounce it,
Australia,
folks?
Incendies.
Somebody tell us how to pronounce it.
Or if you're just reading it, Incendies.
Incendious.
That means something fire related, right? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Incendies. All right.
That's what we're doing, and we can't wait
We'll
to
find
discuss.
Because has anyone seen this?
I've seen this.
Well,
I have
fuck
not.
you.
But a long time ago. A very long time ago.
See you next week, film fans. Incendies.
Soiled
Man, I'm
undies.
excited.